Howdy ho YouTubers, and welcome back to the channel. So I'm really sorry for the lack of footage that I haven't been putting up, but I really wanted to wait until I got things a little bit more sorted before I sort of like opened up again and was able to show you what I was doing with a proper video. So without further ado, let's get For those of you that are not familiar with what this is, basically I am a carp angler that decided to go into the business of building my own fishery. There is a part 1, 2 and 3. If you go back and watch those, if you haven't already seen it, then that will give you more of a general idea of what this is all about. So what has been happening over the winter? Well, to be honest with you, at the start of it, not a lot. We started off with a really wet winter. And there really wasn't too much that I could do. I did struggle with it quite a lot because everything was just mud. The plus points to this were that it filled the lake up really quickly. So I hadn't planned on doing my next step, but the next step to, as the lake had filled up, was the stocking side of it. So I had the opportunity to lay my hands on some fish for a reasonable price. I wasn't that keen on putting fish in at that kind of stage. I was going to wait a little bit longer, but yeah, the price point of them was right. So I decided to take up the opportunity to have those fish. They were anywhere between 25 and about £5. We went for 54 of them in the end, so we got a nice batch of sort of 20s, a nice little batch of like mid doubles around about the 10 mark, and then a few of the single figure ones as well. The fish have done really well since they went in. They've all sort of gained like £1 or £2 over the winter, which has been really good. I've been feeding them a wheat-based pellet that's made by BP Milling, and that's kind of sustained them over the winter period, because obviously there's going to be kind of like a shortage of food, though I don't think that they suffer with it too much because I've got quite a clay-based lake, and they love to sift around and dig around in there. You'll be really surprised, as what I found is really surprised at how far the water does come on even in the winter period. the amount of you know, food that is around just from a new lake. Sometimes during these periods you can lose fish due to stress and things of that nature. You know, we were really sort of like a little bit concerned about like it being such a new lake that we were going to stock these fish really early, and sometimes you can lose the odd one over the winter, just down to the environment and the stress. But as I said, the water qualities were really good. They've been constantly monitored over the winter period. Everything's kind of stayed the same so far, so that side of it's been really good. The lake's really open as well, so at the moment I've got a really good airflow because we've had so much wind down this part of the country. You know, we've had sort of like big gusts of wind all the time, so that's kept the water aerated all the time. So the oxygen levels are really good. And yeah, they've been fine since they've been in, so we didn't lose one fish, touch wood. So that's been really good, because sometimes you can lose a few fish from the stocking period, but yeah, haven't lost one fish, so I'm really happy with that. So now we're into the sort of March period, and over the sort of like last month really is the kind of like time that I've really been able to progress and move forward with things. Sort of like the end of February and the early March has been the times where I've been able to conduct the most kind of work. So starting off was building some paths. I built a series of paths around the lake to the areas where I was going to have the swims. So that's kind of just been done with just a type 1 MOT hardcore, and most of the paths are now built. I've also been able to assemble 4 of the swims of the 8 in total that I'm going to have. So that's been really good as well, because I've managed to get sort of like, again, I wanted to go for like a hardcore swim where you were still able to get a bank stick in the ground, but I wanted to have something that was a clean environment for people. For me, there's nothing worse than turning up to a swim that's, you know, waterlogged and basically a shit pit. So I wanted you know, you spend a lot of money on your gear and things like that, so I wanted the guys to be able to turn up and have a, you know, a clean environment, whether it was, you know, rain or sunshine. All of the work was done by hand, which just involved me with basically my little ride-on lawnmower and a little trailer that I managed to get for it. And it actually didn't take me too long. I thought it was going to take me absolutely ages when I first started the process, but to be honest with you, it wasn't too bad. I just ended up using kind of dumpy bags of gravel, sort of like the 850 kilo bags, close to a ton I suppose, and that just kept everything clean. I was able just to load up the little tractor and just be able to just cruise around and get things done just when it was dry. So I've just maximised the opportunity. Luckily for me, I've been furloughed on and off for the past sort of like 3 or 4 months, so I've just used every opportunity that I can to try and get as much done as I can before the lake starts to grow up, because once everything starts to become green again, it kind of makes it even more hard work, because you've obviously got to dig everything out again and, you know, and deal with that. So the more I can get done while it's growing up, the better. So another thing that I've done during my time of being furloughed is get the bridge done, get the path done onto the island, and build one of the swims on the island, which is where I am now. So yeah, I've got another 4 swims to build on here, so I'm hoping to get those done over the summer. As for the fence that I showed you during the update that I did, I haven't quite finished the fence off yet. However, it has been live all winter. So I've got a 4-pole electric wire going all the way around. Behind that, it's got a standard stock fence. The other thing that I have done to it is I have meshed it now as well with a bit of chicken wire. So that's got like a guard in behind it, and that's kind of like pinned down onto the ground so that nothing can get underneath it. Touch wood, I haven't had any problems over this winter whatsoever, but like I said, I am quite a long way away from the nearest sort of like river course, but as we know, that doesn't give you 100% protection from, you know, anything ever entering your fishery. So hopefully over the summer period, because it's been so wet over the winter, especially on the down wall side, that's really where I've struggled to sort of like get the rest of the fence done, but it is starting to dry out now, so hopefully within sort of like this year I'll have the rest of that fence sorted. So that brings me to the end of my part 4. There isn't really a lot else that I can tell you about the place at the moment. Like I said, everything's kind of like still been a little bit slow because it's been in the winter period, but things are starting to move on slowly. It's gonna take a little bit of time, we all know that. So, you know, over the next few months, as the temperatures now start to increase and everything starts to come to life a little bit, hopefully by July, we'll see a little bit more of a change here. Things should really start to move on a little bit more. So I think I'll do a part 5 in July, and I'll be able to bring you back then. You'll also be able to see the progress of some of the fish by then as well. They should be well on the way to sort of like growing up a little bit more. So yeah, and everything should go a little bit greener, and I should hopefully have a few more swims and paths built by then. So thank you very much for watching. I've really enjoyed being able to sort of like film everything that I've been doing, and show you guys just what's involved with, you know, building your own place and being able to answer people's questions in regards to, you know, what's involved and what you really need to be doing should you ever decide to take the steps to go into something like this yourself. My channel has grown immensely just through these videos, so thank you so much to everybody who's subscribed and who's liked and shared and watched. It's really appreciated, and it kind of like gives me the momentum to keep making them, and yeah, just being able to show you what's what and what's involved. So I'll make another video, a part 5 for this in July. I'll try and film a couple of blogs up here as well during the summer, just to show you how it fishes and all the rest of it, and show you some of the fish that there are in here. So yeah, thank you very much, tight lines, and I'll catch you for the next one.